I've always been the responsible one, the fixer, the provider, the one who never says no. But as I stared at my phone at the latest Venmo request from my sister Vanessa, $1,000 with a simple note reading monthly help, I felt something inside me crack. My name is Naomi Anderson. I'm 27 years old and I'm drowning. Not in water, but in the expectations of others, specifically my family. I work as a software developer at a mid-sized tech company in Boston. The pay is decent. I'm not rich, but I'm comfortable. Or at least I would be if I wasn't supporting half my family. The thing is, I never intended to become my family's unofficial bank. It started small, helping Vanessa with her car payment when she was between jobs, covering my parents' property, taxes when they fell behind. But over time, what began as occasional assistance morphed into regular financial obligations. The problem? I never established where the line was, and they never stopped pushing it further. Vanessa is 32, married to Derek, and they have 2 kids, Emma, who's 7, and Lucas, who's 5. My sister has always been my parents' golden child. She was the pretty one, the social butterfly, the one who fulfilled our parents' dreams by getting married young and having children. I, on the other hand, was the quiet one, the studious one, the one who was too focused on school and then work to date much. Don't get me wrong, I love my niece and nephew fiercely. But their existence has somehow become another reason why I should hand over my hard-earned money to support my sister's lifestyle. I stared at the Venmo request again. $1,000. That was double what Vanessa had asked for last month. And last month's request had been double the month before that. The escalation was becoming alarming, and with each increase, the knot in my stomach tightened. With a deep breath, I pressed decline for the first time ever. 3 seconds later, my phone rang. Vanessa. Hey, did you see my Venmo request? No. Hello, no, how are you? Just straight to the money. I did, I said, trying to keep my voice even. Vanessa, I can't send $1,000 this month. What do you mean you can't? Her voice rose an octave. Naomi, we're counting on you. The kids need new school clothes, and Derek's car needs repairs, and Derek works full-time at an accounting firm, I interrupted. And you're working part-time now that Lucas is in kindergarten. Why do you need so much from me? The silence on the other end was deafening. Then, wow, I didn't realize you were keeping such close tabs on our finances. Is that what you do? Judge us while you're living alone in your fancy apartment with no responsibilities? Her words stung, but they also sparked something else. Anger. I have plenty of responsibilities, Vanessa, including apparently subsidizing your family. I've sent you money every month for the past 3 years. I helped with the down payment on your house. I paid for your family vacation to Disney last summer. I'm not an ATM. You're being incredibly selfish right now, Vanessa snapped. You don't have a family to support. You have all this extra money, and you're just hoarding it while we struggle. I work hard for my money, I said, my voice shaking now. And I have goals too. Saving for a house, for retirement, maybe even to travel someday. Oh, so your hypothetical travel plans are more important than your actual niece and nephew? Nice to know where we stand. The guilt trip was vintage Vanessa, but for once, it didn't work. I'm sorry, but I can't send the 1,000. I can do the usual 500, but that's it. Fine, she spat. But Mom and Dad will be hearing about this. Of course they would. That was Vanessa's nuclear option. Sicking our parents on me. Sure enough, barely an hour later, my phone lit up with my mother's name. Naomi, what's this about you refusing to help your sister? My mother's voice carried that special tone of disappointment she reserved exclusively for me. Mom, I didn't refuse to help. I just can't send $1,000 this month. It's too much. Your sister has children, Naomi. She has a family to support. You know Derek's business has been struggling. Derek wasn't self-employed. He worked for a large accounting firm, But my mother had a habit of revising reality to fit her narrative. Mom, I'm already sending $500 a month. That's $6,000 a year. I can't double it. Well, maybe if you didn't live in such an expensive apartment by yourself, you'd have more to share with your family. You know, in our day, young unmarried women lived at home until they got married. They contributed to their families. I bit back a retort about what century she thought we were living in. Mom, I'm not having this argument again. I love you all, but I need to set some boundaries around money. Boundaries? She said the word like it was profanity. We're family. There are no boundaries in family. After another 15 minutes of circular arguments, I finally managed to end the call, feeling emotionally drained. I collapsed onto my couch, staring at the ceiling of my fancy apartment, a modest one-bedroom in a decent part of town that I'd worked hard to afford. My phone pinged again, a text from my father. Your mother is very upset. Call her back. I turned my phone off. The weekend passed in blessed silence. I went for a run in the park, met my friend Zoe for brunch, and spent Sunday afternoon catching up on work. By Monday morning, I'd almost forgotten about the Venmo drama. Then I checked my bank account. My parents had withdrawn $1,000 from our shared account, an account we'd set up years ago when I was in college so they could deposit money for emergencies. I'd kept it open for sentimental reasons, maintaining a small balance. I never imagined they'd use it like this. With trembling fingers, I called my father. Dad, did you and Mom take money from our shared account? Well, hello to you too, Naomi, he said, sounding annoyingly casual. Yes, we did. Since you wouldn't help your sister, we had to. We'll pay you back eventually. That's not the point. I was practically shouting now. You can't just take my money without asking. It's a shared account, he said, as if that justified everything. And besides, we're family. We help each other out. That phrase again, we're family. The ultimate trump card, the guilt inducer, the boundary eraser. I'm closing that account today, I said flatly. Don't be dramatic, Naomi. Look, your mother and I need to talk to you about something important. Can you come over for dinner tonight? I almost refused, but curiosity got the better of me. Fine. What time? 6:30. And Naomi? Try to come. With a better attitude, please. I spent the rest of the day alternating between simmering rage and anxious speculation about what this important conversation could be. By the time I arrived at my parents' modest split-level home, the home where I'd grown up, my stomach was in knots. Vanessa's minivan was parked in the driveway, which was unexpected. This was supposed to be a dinner with my parents, not a family ambush. I briefly considered turning around and leaving, but I steeled myself and went inside. They were all sitting in the living room. My parents, Vanessa, and Derek. Emma and Lucas were nowhere to be seen. Probably at a babysitter's, which meant this meeting was serious enough to arrange childcare. There she is, my mother said with a tight smile. Sit down, Naomi. We need to talk. I perched warily on the edge of an armchair, feeling like I was facing a firing squad. What's going on? My father cleared his throat. Your mother and I have made a decision. We're selling the house. That wasn't what I expected. Oh, are you downsizing? Moving to a retirement community? My parents were in their early 60s, so it wasn't an unreasonable assumption. My mother laughed, a brittle sound. Retirement community? On your father's pension? No, we're not downsizing. Actually, we're moving in with you. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. What? We're moving in with you, my father repeated, as if I simply hadn't heard him. Vanessa and Derek are going to buy this house from us, at a family discount, of course, and we'll move into your apartment. It makes the most sense. You have that spare bedroom, and this way we can help Vanessa and Derek with the kids. I looked at Vanessa, who wouldn't meet my eyes. Derek was examining his fingernails with intense interest. But I don't have a spare bedroom, I said, still trying to process this bombshell. I live in a one-bedroom apartment. Yes, and it's a very nice master bedroom, my mother said. You can sleep on a pull-out sofa in the living room. It's not like you entertain much anyway. I felt like I'd stepped into an alternate reality. You want me to give up my bedroom in my own apartment? The apartment that I pay for? Well, we'd contribute to the rent, of course, my father said magnanimously. We thought maybe $100 a month, and your mother would cook and clean, so you'd save money on takeout. I looked at each of their faces, waiting for someone to crack a smile and tell me this was all an elaborate joke. But they were deadly serious. This is insane, I finally said. You can't just decide to move into my home without even asking me. We're asking you now, my mother said, though her tone made it clear it wasn't really a question. The answer is no. Absolutely not. Vanessa finally looked up. Naomi, don't be selfish. Mom and Dad need somewhere to live. And this way, they can help us with the kids while still being close to you. It's a win-win. A win-win for whom? I demanded. For you, because you get their house? For them, because they get my bedroom? Where's the win for me in this scenario? The win for you is that you get to help your family, my father said sternly. That's what family does, Naomi. We help each other. There it was again, that toxic family mantra. I already help, I said quietly. I send money every month. I babysit whenever you ask. I'm there for all the birthdays and holidays and emergencies. But this, giving up my home, my privacy, my independence, this is too much. My mother's expression hardened. I'm disappointed in you, Naomi. I thought we raised you better than this. Family comes first, always. The unfairness of it all hit me like a physical blow. Does it? Because it seems like Vanessa's needs always come first. Vanessa's wants. Vanessa's family. That's not true, my mother protested, but weakly. It is true, I insisted, years of pent-up resentment spilling out. When I needed help with college, tuition, you said you couldn't afford it because you were paying for Vanessa's wedding. When I got that job offer in Seattle, you guilted me into turning it down because Vanessa was pregnant and needed me nearby. Every major decision in my life has been influenced by what Vanessa needed. Vanessa rolled her eyes. Here we go with the martyr act again. It's not an act. I was on my feet now, my voice rising. I have bent over backward for this family for years, and it's never enough. Well, I'm done. I'm not giving up my bedroom, my home, or any more of my money. I'm setting boundaries, and you all need to respect them. The room fell silent. Then my father spoke, his voice dangerously calm. If that's how you feel, Naomi, then perhaps you're not the daughter we thought you were. The words hit like a slap. I felt tears prickling behind my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Maybe I'm not. Or maybe I'm finally becoming the daughter I need to be for myself. I grabbed my purse and headed for the door. Where are you going? My mother called after me. We haven't had dinner yet. I've lost my appetite, I said, and walked out. That night, I couldn't sleep. I paced my apartment, my sanctuary, my space, trying to make sense of what had happened. Had my family always been this entitled, this manipulative? Had I simply been too close to see it? By morning, I had made a decision. I took the day off, work, and spent it apartment hunting. By afternoon, I had signed a lease on a new place, a similar one-bedroom, but in a secured building with a doorman. I also visited my bank and closed the shared account with my parents. Then I called my best friend, Zoe. I need a favor, I said when she picked up. Can you help me move this weekend? And can I use your address for my mail for a while? Zoe didn't hesitate. Of course. What's going on, Naomi? I explained the situation, half expecting her to tell me I was overreacting. Instead, she was horrified. That's not normal family behavior, she said firmly. That's emotional and financial abuse. You're doing the right thing by getting out. Hearing someone else validate my feelings was like a weight lifting from my shoulders. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't selfish. I was protecting myself. The rest of the week passed in a blur of packing and planning. I deliberately avoided my family's calls and texts, which grew increasingly frequent and demanding. "Where are you?" My father. "Why aren't you answering our calls?" My mother. "You're being ridiculous. Just talk to us." Vanessa. "Your mother is worried sick. Call her." My father again. I responded only once with a text to all of them. "I need some space to think. I'll contact you when I'm ready." By Saturday, with Zoe's help, I was moved into my new apartment. I had arranged for my mail to go to Zoe's address, changed my phone number, and updated my address with my employer, bank, and all important services. I wasn't hiding exactly, but I was making it difficult for my family to intrude on my new life. On Monday, I sent another group text. "I've moved to a new apartment. I'm not sharing my address at this time. I love you all, but I need to establish some boundaries. I will no longer be sending monthly money. I'm happy to maintain a relationship based on mutual respect. Balls in your court." The response was immediate and predictable. My phone exploded with outraged messages and calls. I turned it off and went to work. When I checked it that evening, there were 17 voicemails and over 30 texts. I listened to one voicemail from each family member, then deleted the rest. My father. "Naomi, this is childish and irresponsible. You can't just cut off your family. Call me back immediately." My mother. "I'm so hurt, Naomi, after all we've done for you. Is this how you repay us? By breaking my heart?" Vanessa. "You selfish bitch. What am I supposed to tell the kids, that their aunt abandoned them? Derek and I counted on that money. You've put us in an impossible position." Derek. "Hey, Naomi, look, I know things got heated, but don't you think you're taking this too far? Just call Vanessa, okay?" I texted Zoe. "They're reacting exactly as expected." Zoe's reply was swift. "Stay strong. Remember why you're doing this." The next few weeks were both liberating and excruciating. Liberating because, for the first time in my adult life, I was truly independent. I wasn't beholden to anyone. I could spend my money as I chose, decorate my apartment as I liked, make plans without consulting anyone else's needs or schedule. But it was also excruciating because, despite everything, I missed my family. I missed my niece and nephew terribly. I worried about my parents, who weren't getting any younger. I even missed Vanessa, the sister she used to be before money and entitlement came between us. The messages from my family continued, evolving from angry to manipulative. "Your nephew lost a tooth. He was so sad you weren't there to see it. We had to cancel our family vacation because of the financial strain you've caused. Your father isn't feeling well. He asks about you every day." Each message was designed to pull at my heartstrings, to make me feel guilty for prioritizing myself. Some days, it almost worked. I'd find myself reaching for my phone, ready to cave and give them my address, my new number, whatever they wanted. But then I'd remember that dinner, their faces as they calmly informed me they were taking my bedroom, the casual cruelty of it, the absolute disregard for my feelings or autonomy, and my resolve would strengthen again. After about a month, the tone of the messages changed again. "We're worried about you, Naomi. Are you okay? We miss you. Can we meet somewhere neutral to talk? The kids drew pictures for you. Can I send them somehow?" This felt more genuine, less manipulative. I cautiously responded to my mother's text about meeting somewhere neutral. "I'm okay. Still not ready to share my address. We could meet at the coffee shop on Main Street this Saturday at 10 a.m. if you want to talk." Her response was immediate. "We'll be there, all of us." I wrote back, "No, just you and Dad, not Vanessa and Derek, not yet." There was a long pause before she replied, "Okay, just us." Saturday arrived, and I walked into the coffee shop with my guard up. My parents were already there, sitting at a table near the back. They looked older somehow, more vulnerable than I remembered, my heart twisted with a familiar mix of love and resentment. "Naomi," my mother said, half rising from her chair. She looked like she wanted to hug me but wasn't sure if it would be welcome. She was right to hesitate. Mom. Dad. I sat down across from them, keeping my posture straight, my face neutral. You look well, my father said, his eyes scanning my face. We've been worried. I'm fine, I said. I have a new apartment. It's nice, secure. We'd love to see it sometime, my mother ventured. Maybe someday, I said, non-committal. But that's not why we're here. My father sighed. No, it's not. Naomi, we owe you an apology, a big one. I blinked, surprised. I had expected more guilt trips, more manipulation, not an immediate apology. We've had a lot of time to think over the past month, my mother continued. And we realize now how unfair we've been to you, not just with the apartment situation, but for years. We've taken advantage of your generosity, my father admitted. We've taken you for granted, and we've favored Vanessa, though we didn't want to admit it, even to ourselves. I felt a lump forming in my throat. This was more self-awareness than my parents had ever shown before. What made you realize this? I asked, cautious. My parents exchanged glances. Well, my mother said, after you left, we went ahead with our plan. We sold the house to Vanessa and Derek. At market value, my father interjected. Not at a family discount. And we rented an apartment nearby, my mother continued. And once we were out of the house and saw how Vanessa and Derek acted as the new owners, they changed, my father said flatly. Or maybe they didn't change, and we just finally saw them clearly. They started charging us to babysit our own grandchildren. They complained about us visiting too often. They made us feel unwelcome in the home where we'd raised our children. It was eye-opening, my mother admitted, and painful, and it made us realize that maybe you'd been right all along. I sat back, processing this. Part of me felt vindicated. Finally, they saw what I'd seen for years. But another part of me felt sad for them. They looked genuinely hurt and confused by this turn of events. I'm sorry that happened, I said honestly. But I'm not surprised. Vanessa and Derek have been taking advantage of all of us for a long time. We see that now, my father said. And we're ashamed of how we treated you. You deserved better, Naomi. You've always deserved better. Tears welled in my mother's eyes. Can you ever forgive us? Can we try to rebuild our relationship? I felt my own eyes growing moist. This was the apology I'd been waiting for, the acknowledgement of years of inequity. But I was still wary. I want that, I said carefully. But we need to establish some ground rules. I love you both, and I want you in my life, but I can't go back to how things were before. We understand, my father said quickly. Whatever you need. I need financial boundaries, I said. No more expectations that I'll support Vanessa or anyone else. I'm happy to help in emergencies, real emergencies, but not as a regular thing. They both nodded. And I need you to respect my privacy and independence. My address, when I choose to share it, isn't something you can give to Vanessa or anyone else without my permission. Of course, my mother agreed. And I need you to treat me as an equal adult, not as a resource or a backup plan. My choices, my time, my money, they're mine to decide how to use. That's fair, my father said. More than fair. I took a deep breath. If we can agree on those things, then yes, I'd like to work on our relationship. My mother reached across the table, tentatively placing her hand over mine. Thank you, Naomi. We don't deserve another chance, but we're grateful for it, and we promise to do better. For the first time in a long time, I believed them. We spent the next hour talking, really talking, about our feelings, our expectations, our hopes for the future. It wasn't perfect. There were awkward moments, old hurts that resurfaced, defensive reactions that had to be checked. But it was a start. As we were preparing to leave, my father asked hesitantly, "What about Vanessa? Will you consider talking to her too? I sighed. Eventually, but not yet. That relationship needs more time and more thought. They didn't push, which was itself a sign of growth. We hugged goodbye, a bit stiffly, but genuinely, and I watched them walk away, feeling lighter than I had in months. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but for the first time, I felt hopeful that we could build something healthier together. Over the next few weeks, my relationship with my parents slowly improved. We met for coffee every Saturday. They respected my boundaries, never pushing for my address or asking for money. They shared stories about Emma and Lucas, which satisfied my longing to know how my niece and nephew were doing without pressuring me to see them. About 6 weeks after our coffee shop reunion, my mother tentatively brought up Thanksgiving. We were thinking of having a small dinner at our apartment, she said. Just us, if you're comfortable with that. Vanessa and her family are going to Derek's parents this year. The absence of Vanessa and Derek made the invitation more appealing. I'd like that, I said. Can I bring anything? Just yourself, my father said warmly. Thanksgiving was quiet, but pleasant. My parents' apartment was small but cozy, and they made an effort to prepare all my favorite dishes. We didn't talk about Vanessa or the past. Instead, we focused on the present. My job, their new neighbors, a movie we'd all seen recently. As I was leaving, my mother handed me a small envelope. This is our new landline number, she explained, and our address. I know you didn't want to share yours yet, and that's okay. But we wanted you to know where we are anytime you want to visit. The gesture touched me deeply. They were giving without expecting anything in return. A new experience in our family. Dynamic. The Christmas season approached, bringing with it the usual mix of joy and stress. I'd always loved the holidays, but family expectations had often overshadowed the fun. This year would be different. I'd already told my parents I'd be spending Christmas Eve with Zoe's family, but would come for Christmas dinner with them. What I hadn't expected was the text from Vanessa in mid-December. The kids miss you. Would you consider meeting us at the park so they can give you their Christmas cards? I stared at the message for a long time. I missed Emma and Lucas desperately, but I was still wary of Vanessa. After consulting with Zoe and doing some soul-searching, I replied, Okay, Central Park Playground, Saturday at 11 a.m., just you and the kids, please. Vanessa agreed, and when Saturday came, I arrived at the playground with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. I spotted them immediately. Emma on the swings, Lucas climbing a small jungle gym, Vanessa watching from a nearby bench. Emma saw me first. Aunt Naomi, she shrieked, leaping off the swing and running toward me. Lucas followed, his little legs pumping as fast as they could. I knelt and opened my arms, enveloping them both in a huge hug. I've missed you guys so much, I whispered, breathing in their familiar scents. We missed you too, Emma said. Mommy said you went on a long trip. I glanced at Vanessa, who had approached more slowly. Something like that, I said. We made you. Christmas cards, Lucas announced proudly, pulling slightly crumpled envelopes from his jacket pocket. I want to see them, I said, sitting down on a bench. The kids sat on either side of me, pressing close as I opened their cards. Emma's featured a carefully drawn family, including a figure labeled Aunt Naomi with extra long hair. Lucas's was a riot of colors with stickers applied liberally across the surface. These are beautiful, I said sincerely. I'm going to put them right on my refrigerator. Vanessa cleared her throat. Kids, why don't you go play for a few minutes while Aunt Naomi and I talk? Once the children were back on the playground equipment, Vanessa sat beside me, leaving a careful distance between us. You look good, she said after a moment. Happy? I am, I replied. Happier than I've been in a long time. She nodded, looking down at her hands. Mom and Dad told me about their coffee shop meetings with you, about how they've been reflecting on things. I stayed silent, waiting. I've been doing some reflecting too, she continued. And I owe you an apology, Naomi, a big one. I hadn't expected this. Like our parents, Vanessa had never been one to admit fault. "I took advantage of you," she said quietly. "For years. I took your generosity for granted. I acted entitled to your help, your money, your time. And when you finally set boundaries, I lashed out instead of respecting you." I felt a tightness in my chest, a mix of vindication and lingering hurt. "Why did you do it? You and Derek make good money. You didn't actually need my help, did you?" She sighed. "No, not really. At first we did, when the kids were babies and daycare was so expensive. But then it just became convenient, expected, and I liked the lifestyle we could have with your extra support. Nice vacations, new cars, the bigger house. It was selfish." "It was," I agreed, not willing to sugarcoat it. "And it hurt me, Vanessa, not just financially, but emotionally. It felt like you only valued me for what I could give. You, not for who I was." "I understand that now," she said, and I was surprised to see tears in her eyes. "And I'm so sorry, Naomi. I don't expect you to forgive me right away. I just want a chance to prove I can be a better sister." I considered her words carefully. "I need time, Vanessa, and I need to see consistent change, not just hear promises." "That's fair," she said. "More than fair." We watched the kids play for a while, the silence between us no longer as tense. "Mom mentioned you're coming for Christmas dinner," Vanessa said eventually. "Yes. Will you be there?" She shook her head. "No, we're still going to Derek's parents, but maybe sometime in the new year we could all have dinner together, if you're comfortable with that." I thought about it. "Maybe. Let's see how things go." She nodded, accepting this tentative answer. "The kids would love to see you more regularly. If you want, maybe we could do this park thing again. Or if you'd rather see them without me, I understand. Mom and Dad could bring them sometimes." The offer to step back, to prioritize my relationship with her children over her pride, spoke volumes about her changing perspective. "I'd like to see them," I said. "And I appreciate your flexibility, Vanessa. That means a lot." We agreed to a tentative schedule of park meetups, weather permitting. As we prepared to leave, Emma and Lucas clung to me, extracting promises that I wouldn't go on another long trip without saying goodbye. "I won't," I promised, hugging them tightly. "I'll see you again soon." As I walked away, Vanessa called, after me, "Naomi?" I turned. "Thank you," she said simply, "for giving us another chance, for loving the kids even when you were angry with me, and for showing me what healthy boundaries look like. I'm trying to learn from you." The acknowledgement brought unexpected tears to my eyes. "You're welcome," I managed to say, before turning and continuing on my way. Christmas dinner with my parents was surprisingly lovely. We exchanged modest gifts, enjoyed a delicious meal, and played board games afterward. There was laughter, genuine laughter, something our family gatherings had often lacked in recent years. As I was helping my mother with the dishes, she said quietly, "Vanessa told me you met her and the kids at the park." "Yes," I confirmed, bracing myself for pressure or manipulation, but she just smiled. "I'm glad. Not for her, though I hope you two can repair your relationship eventually. But for you. I know how much you love those children." "I do," I admitted. "It was good to see them. You know," she said, handing me a plate to dry, "your father and I have been thinking. We owe you so much more than an apology. We want to give you something concrete to make up for years of, well, taking rather than giving." "You don't have to do that, Mom. We want to," she insisted. "We've talked about it, and we'd like to give you the money we got from selling the house to Vanessa and Derek. It's sitting in our savings account, and we'd like it to be yours." I nearly dropped the plate I was drying. "What? Mom, that's tens of thousands of dollars. I can't accept that." "Yes, you can," my father said, entering the kitchen. "It's not a loan or a gift. It's repayment. For years of financial support, for the career opportunity in Seattle you sacrificed, for all the times we put Vanessa's needs before yours. It's what's right, Naomi. I was speechless. The money would be life-changing, enough for a down payment. On a small house of my own, enough to fulfill some of the dreams I'd put on hold to support my family. I don't know what to say. I finally managed. Say you'll think about it, my mother suggested. That's all we ask. I'll think about it, I promised. As I drove home that night, my mind was swirling with the events of the past few months. From the nightmare dinner where my parents announced they were taking my bedroom, to this Christmas offer of a small fortune, it was a transformation I could never have predicted. I pulled into the parking garage of my apartment building. Sanctuary, my safe space. For the first time, I considered inviting my parents over, letting them see where I lived. Not yet, but soon. The thought didn't fill me with dread anymore. Inside my apartment, I put Emma and Lucas's Christmas cards on my refrigerator as promised. Then I curled up on my couch in my living room, which was still a living room and not a bedroom, and reflected on the journey. I had been pushed to my breaking point, forced to establish boundaries I should have set years ago. The process had been painful, messy, and at times heartbreaking. But the results were transformative. My parents were learning to respect me as an autonomous adult. Vanessa was beginning to recognize her entitled behavior. And I, perhaps most importantly, I had discovered my own strength, my own voice. I wasn't naive enough to think all our problems were solved. There would be backsliding, old patterns reasserting themselves, new boundaries to establish. The work of creating healthy family relationships would be ongoing. But for the first time in my adult life, I wasn't drowning in the expectations of others. I was breathing freely, living on my own terms. And paradoxically, by pulling away, by refusing to be manipulated or exploited, I had created the possibility of genuinely loving, mutually respectful relationships with my family. As I drifted off to sleep that night, I felt at peace. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new negotiations of boundaries and relationships. But I would face them standing firm in my worth, clear in my boundaries, and open to the possibility of real family love, the kind that builds up rather than diminishes, that supports rather than exploits. I was Naomi Anderson, 27 years old, software developer, daughter, sister, aunt. I was worthy of respect, deserving of autonomy, capable of setting boundaries. And finally, after years of being everyone's bank and emotional support system, I was becoming the most important thing of all, myself.